Hello everyone, this is Shazmaths here again and welcome back to Shazmaths. In the part 1 of functions and relations, we discussed 4 important points. If you haven't watched that video yet, I would strongly suggest you to go onto Shazmaths page and watch that video, as it is the basis of relations, that what are the relations, and we also discussed domain, range and 4 types of relations. So the last concept we discussed was the 4 types of relations are one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one and many-to-many. So let's start off from there. So have a look here guys. If a function is one-to-one, the first part would always represent the x value and the second part would always represent the y values. That means if a function is one-to-one, that would mean that for every single value of x, we will only get single value of y as a result. Or if we look at the other way around, for every single value of y, there should be only single or one value of x. Alright. Similarly, one-to-many means for every single value of x, there would be multiple values of y. Many-to-one means for every single value of y, there would be multiple values of x. And many-to-many means for multiple values of x, there would be multiple values of y. So the question is, how will we determine the type of relation now? So the answer is, graphically, what we will do is we will always draw a horizontal line and a vertical line anywhere on the graph, and we will notice the points of intersection. Let's have a look. In the first graph, let's draw a horizontal line and notice the point of intersections. Now over here I can see when I have drawn a horizontal line, that means for this value of y, there is only one point of intersection, right? So there is only one value of x. Similarly, if I draw a vertical line, have a look here, that means this vertical line is intersecting the graph at a single point as well. That means for this value of x, there is only single value of y. So that means that there is only single point of intersection as well. That is why the function is one-to-one. Similarly, for the second graph, let's draw a horizontal and a vertical line here. So when I've drawn a vertical line, I can see for a single value of x, there are 2 points of intersections. That means there are 2 values of y. That means this would be one-to-many. Alright, let's have a look on this graph. If I draw a horizontal line over here, that means for a single value of y, how many points of intersection are there? There are 2 points of intersection. 1, 2. That means for a single value of y, there were 2 values of x. That means it is many-to-one. And then the last one. Again, let's draw a horizontal and a vertical line to determine. So I've just drawn a horizontal line and then a vertical line. Remember, we can draw a horizontal and a vertical line anywhere on the graph. Alright. So the condition is anywhere on the graph, if it is intersecting on one or more points, that's how we will determine if it is one-to-many, many-to-one or whatsoever. Alright, so now let's have a look over here. Now for this one, I can see that when I've drawn this vertical line, it is intersecting the graph at 2 points. Right, that means for this value of x, there were 2 values of y. Then to determine the values of x at a single point of y, I've drawn a horizontal line. Now have a look at this line. Now for this value of y, the graph is intersecting at this point and at this point. That means for a single value of y, there were 2 values of x as well. That is why this relation is many-to-many. I hope this clears the 4 types of relations that we have discussed. Concept number 5. What is a mapping diagram? A diagram that represents the relationship between the input values, that are the x values, and the output values, that are the y values. I'll explain that to you via this example. So I've taken the example of the equation y equals to x plus 1, and as I said in my last video that all the equations are basically relations. So this is exhibiting some sort of relationship, but we have no idea which one is it. Let's have a look at it via mapping diagram. So in the mapping diagram, the inputs are always the x values and the outputs are always the y values. Alright, so if I substitute x equals to 0 over here, what I would get? I will get y equals to 1. Similarly, if I substitute x equals to 1, I'm gonna get y equals to 2. And if I substitute x equals to 2, I'm gonna get y equals to 3. So a mapping diagram just looks like this one, and now I will just match the corresponding values of x and y to each other, just like this. X equals to 0 was corresponding value of y equals to 1. Similarly, when I substituted x equals to 1, I got y equals to 2, and then when I substituted x equals to 2, I got y equals to 3. So now this tells me that for every single value of x, I am getting a single value of y. Every one value of x is mapping onto a one value of y. That's why this function, this relation is 1 to 1. Alright, now let's have a look at the second example over here, this one. Now for this one, it is a quadratic equation. Alright, again, all sort of equations are relations. That means for this one, let's have a look. If we substitute x equals to 0, we're gonna get y equals to minus 1. So this x equal to 0 would represent y equals to minus 1. And if I substitute y equals to 0, or in other words, if I substitute x equals to minus 1, I'm gonna get y equals to 0. So I'm gonna match that one. Apologies, 1 second. Alrighty, here you go. And then if I substitute x equals to plus 1, I still will get y equal to 0. So I'm gonna match plus 1 to y equals to 0 as well. Now notice over here that for multiple values of x, I am getting a single y. So that means this function is many to 1. I hope that explains the concept of mapping diagram as well. Concept number 6. What exactly are functions? Let's have a look. Functions are relations where a single or multiple inputs provides us a single output only. Alright? That means the x values can be one or multiple, but the y value, it needs to be only one. That's what I've written over here, that x can be multiple, but there has to be only one y. Okay, that means the types of relations that we discussed, there were 4 types. Amongst those, there are only 2 types of relations that are functions. Which ones are those? Let's have a look. So for the second part, if you remember, I mentioned that the second part represents the y value. So the ones that have one y value, both are functions, this one and this one. And the ones that have multiple y values, they both are just a relation. I hope that sums it up. So that's what I mentioned over here, that all functions are relations, but all relations are not functions. Okay, so if you do understand the sets as well, we can see that functions are the subset of relations. Because two types of relations were not functions. That's why. All right. Now, how would we determine whether a function is a relation? The other way around. How would we determine if a relation is a function or not? Now, the best solution is to draw a vertical line anywhere on the graph. Now, remember, anywhere on the graph, like on any region of the graph, if you draw a vertical line, that means a line parallel to y-axis, it should intersect the graph at a single point only. If it intersects the graph at a single point, that means that that relation is a function, because when we draw a vertical line, that would represent that on that specific value of x, if it intersects at one point, that means there is only one value of y. Despite of that, if it is the other way around, if that's the other case, that on the graph, if we draw a vertical line and on any section of the graph, there are 2 points of intersection. What does that represent? That there are two values of y for a single value of x. That is why it won't be a function, it's just a relation. Alright, so this is what I have mentioned over here as well. If you have a look, it says vertical line test is the best way to determine if a relation is a function or not. If vertical line intersects the graph at single point, that means it's a function. If vertical line intersects the graph at multiple points, then it's not a function, it's just a relation. Let's have a look at this example. Example number 1, we have to determine if it's a function or not. Now, how would I determine that? I'm gonna draw vertical lines on different sections of the graph. Alright. Now I can see on each section there is only one point of intersection. Apologies, this one, and then this one. What does that mean? That means anywhere if I draw a vertical line, it's gonna intersect the graph at a single point only. That means it is a function. Alright, let's have a look at this example. For this one, I can see that T is a set of points. Alright, now just one important thing that I think I haven't mentioned before, points are also known as ordered pairs. So T is a set of ordered pairs, or you can say T is a set of points. Now what points are here? It is 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 4 and 3, 5. Now we can see the x value of 1 here represents the y value of 1. When x is 2, y is 1 again. That means for multiple values of x, there was same y. Alright, now let's keep on moving. When x was 3, y was 4. But then when x was 3, y was 5. That means for same value of x, there are multiple values of y as well. That is why it is not a function, because have a look here. X is 3, x is 3. But y, it changes from 4 to 5. So for single value of x, we got two values of y. So which contradicts the condition of a function. So that is why this one is not a function. Alright, and if you do remember the types of relations that we have discussed, this one is many to many relation. Alright, that's it from my side, guys. So what we have covered so far is the introduction and basics to functions, relations, domain and range. What we have not covered is the types of questions that you guys will be facing in the exam. So if you want me to record or make the videos on the types of questions along with the topical past paper questions, leave that in the comment section and let me know whether you want me to do the topical past paper questions or you want me to record the video on any other topics. Also, if you like my content or my videos help you in understanding the concepts of functions and relations, please make sure you subscribe the channel, give it a like and share it with your mates as well. I'll see you guys in the next video.